Defending Jacob, starring Chris Evans, Jaden Martell, and Michelle Dockery. All by yours truly, IDK Revy. Now for your feature presentation. So who would have thought that Chris Evans would be the father who would be willing to do whatever it took to save his son? Hi, my name is IDK Revy, and on my channel, I watch things so you don't have to. Today, we will be reviewing the new show on Apple TV, Defending Jacob. Now, I will be reviewing the first 4 episodes of the show because that's the only amount of episodes that they have released so far. So the first week, when the show first debuted, it released 3 episodes, and then each week until the end, it's going to release an episode each week. So it's kind of like one of those types of things where they like to just mess with the binge watchers or the people who would watch and then spoil everything. So instead of letting the people just enjoy the way they like to consume television nowadays, the millennials, they're going to allow the boomers to get into the communal experience of watching a television show. So they're going to force everybody to wait each week for this long and padded and drawn out television show. But I digress. I went on a little bit of a rant there. If this is your first time to my channel, I usually talk about movies and television shows, and occasionally I talk about something that I just randomly felt like talking about. But today I'm going to be talking about a show. So if this is your first time here, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit the thumbs up button or thumbs down button or whatever you choose to do. It's your choice. So on to the review. So the show Defending Jacob has Chris Evans, who is formerly known as Captain America for the last decade. Michelle Dockery, who most people won't know, she's one of the indie actresses, and she's been in different shows, so most people probably won't know who she is. That doesn't mean that she's not a good actress. It just means that she's not as well known as Chris Evans. And then you got Jacob, who's played by Jaden Martell, and he's the kid. He was Stuttering Bill from the It movies, the first It movies, and you probably seen him in a lot of other teen stuff. So that's your cast of family. That's your cast of our antagonists. You got, a father who is an assistant DA, and he works to just kind of like defend people like most DAs do, and then he's got a guy who's jockeying for his job, but Chris Evans is better. So that's a little bit of a foreshadowing later on because he's a better lawyer than this other guy, or a better DA. The technicalities between it, but somebody's gonna correct me in the comments. But he's just better at his job than this other guy. But this other guy is just like jealous. So it foreshadows or flashes back or flashes forward. I think it's a flash forward and it flashes back to the events. It's a confusing show. So it flashes one of the scene jumps. It jumps to a scene where Chris Evans' character Andy is being interrogated by this man. And the guy is just grilling him, and then he even makes it seem like, oh, are you only being a jerk to me because you want my job? And so the DA, the guy who's like trying him, is being that kind of guy. So the show Defending Jacob is basically, there is a murder, and people are trying to figure out where this murder happened. In the great state of Massachusetts. And in Massachusetts, there's this murder that's going on, and people are trying to just want to know why this boy at this school is murdered. And so I thought something was kind of weird. There was a murder that took place and they locked the school down. And I don't know if that's kind of like what they do with modern schools nowadays, but I don't think that locking the school down because there was the kid got murdered. I think maybe keeping people aware once the news gets out there, yes, but locking the school down like there's a school shooter, I think that was a bit excessive. For me, personally, I just thought it was a bit excessive. Why cause panic when people don't know that there's panic? Unless there's people or like stuff that's mumbling that people are worried about this, why cause panic for no reason? So I thought that was weird in the first episode. But there's this kid that died, and a lot of the evidence so far and the way it's being presented to us, it seems like somebody's killed him. Now, we don't know if it's this random man who was killing him or whether it was Jacob, because Jacob's this like weird teenage boy who's really standoffish, who's like playing video games because, of course, kids that play video games are evil. That's what the media likes to tell us, right? I play video games. And so kids that play video games are evil, and they're just evil and bad. And so we're led to believe that this is Jacob because there's a lot of proof. He's one of those edgy teenagers from like, how in like the 90s TV shows where there's like that teenage boy who's kind of like rebellious. So he's that. But then Chris Evans, or I keep calling him Chris Evans, Andy doesn't believe that Jacob is bad because obviously most parents wouldn't. But then he also knows that he has a muddled past with his father. And so he realized that his father was a violent man who was called Bloody Bill. And Bloody Bill raped and murdered a woman. And so Chris Evans went through that trauma as a kid, and he believes that he's going to pass that trauma on to his son. And that's why he's a little more hesitant, or a little more, he's not trying to convict his son, because he doesn't want to just put his son in jail. So he's trying to be the best father for his son. Now, the mother, Lori, played by Michelle Dockery, as I said earlier, she is one who looks to be more troubled by this. You know, you got people calling them murderers, spray painting murderers on their house, and you can see in her scenes that this is bothering her internally. I mean, she's internalizing this, and it's not something that's sitting well with her. And because it's not sitting well with her, you could just see in the scenes that she does a very good job acting, and just, you know, when there's a scene when they're like going out to eat, and they're out eating, and you can just see everybody staring at them. Now, my only technical issue with that scene was that it just wasn't shot in a way where I wish it was like they were like in the center, or it was shot in a way where it made it feel like everybody was staring at them without being like this over-the-top cartoonish, like everybody staring and whispering and talking about them. Like I would have preferred that, but that's just me being a nitpicking jerk. So anyway, the first 3 episodes, we pretty much just get that feel of a family doing whatever they have to do to protect their son, who has been alleged with murdering a student from their school. So they're going through social media sites, they're listening to people talk about them, they're trying their best to take in the information and the evidence, also defending their son. And so that's the first 3 episodes. My initial thoughts of the first 4 episodes are it's an ugly looking show. The color palette is not the best, and I know they want to give it this dark, gritty, realistic feel, but you can tell it's shot on a digital camera, and it takes away the aesthetic. It takes away that feel that you're in Boston. I've never really been to Boston, so how can I say? But it's just the show. I hate seeing the shows nowadays that are so ugly looking, and to go along with the dullness and the whiteness of our protagonists, it doesn't really feel like they're like this happy-go-lucky fan. They're happy-go-lucky, but it's almost like you know something bad's going to happen. And I really think that the title really gave away the ambiguity of the show. I mean, you know that because it's defending Jacob, his dad's going to do whatever it takes to defend his son. And the mom's going to do whatever she has to do to defend her son. And Jacob's going to do, you know. So it's an okay one. I think it's a slow burn. It feels more like a novel. I really wish that it wasn't 8 episodes, because I feel like it's just dragging it on rather than just getting to the point. I think it would have been a great movie. Or maybe, yeah, a great movie would have been fine. You know, a great 2.5 hour movie, kind of like a Gone Girl. It would have been a great movie that would have just been done. You could have just released it on Netflix, or Apple could have released it. But to make it a television show, it feels more like they're just stretching out the plot just so that it will fit the 8-minute run time. And I think that's one thing that's just going to hurt this in the long run. So my thoughts on the first 4 episodes of Defending Jacob. It's an okay show. I think if you have Apple, watch it. If you don't, you're not missing nothing. And so there's Better TV on. Check out Better TV. Stay safe during the quarantine time.